You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka, noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka, noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.
Good evening and welcome to the weekend. I'm John Caldera, president of the Independence Institute. You're watching Independent Thinking. Again, it's back. This time it looks like it's going to pass something to put Colorado on changing the constitutional requirement for Electoral College. This was something championed for many years by now former Senator Ken Gordon. Welcome back. How you enjoying civilian life, by the way?
Very much. Working out every day.
I can tell it by your buff chest.
Yes.
Do you miss it?
Yeah, I miss it a little bit. I do. I liked it. It was stressful, but it was fun to be down there and to know the ins and outs of everything that was going on. Pass good legislation.
It's a tough addiction to break, I hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my hands aren't shaking.
And the women, all the time.
Oh, that's right. They're very attracted to legislators.
Yeah, exactly. That and city councilman. Dave Kopel from the Independence Institute, our research director. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
All right, let's get to it. For years, you tried to pass something that would change the way Colorado does its electoral college, basically, during presidential elections and only for presidential elections.
Right.
Now that you've gotten out of the Senate, of course, it's speeding along like a bullet, meaning you were obviously the limiting factor there.
Right.
Yeah.
I did the best I could.
Actually, you got to pass several times, didn't you? In the Senate, it was the House that would always kill it.
Right. I passed it twice in the Senate. The way I feel about my political career was that for a socially inept introvert, I did fairly well.
You did marvelously well. All right. Now that it has passed the House. It's passed the House. It's in the Senate. Yeah. It's going into the Senate, and it's passed the Senate in the past, and I don't see a reason why it's not. It could very well end up on the governor's desk. Explain what this bill, which is 1299, what does it do? How does it operate?
What it does is that Colorado would join a compact of states that agree to send their electoral votes to the candidate who gets the largest number of popular votes in the whole country. And so the result of it would be if enough states join this compact, and 4 have passed it so far, then the person who becomes president will be the person who gets the largest number of popular votes. Very simple, end of story.
So in other words, Colorado joins, is it contiguous states, or is it just any state that does this?
It only goes into effect when enough states, when states representing a majority of the Electoral College agree to join this compact. And when that happens, then it will be sufficient to cause the result, which will be that the person who gets a large number of votes in the entire United States will become the president of the United States.
All right. Let's bring it here. Why don't you give us a quick history lesson for those people who need. Every 4 years we get a lesson on how the Electoral College works, and then we forget it completely. So give us the quick civics lesson.
The electors are the ones who actually choose who the president is. The Electoral College meets in December. Each state chooses its electors as in the manner that the state chooses to do so, and the number of electors that each state has is the number of their number of senators, which is always 2, plus the number of United States representatives. So Colorado, we have 7 members in the House, 2 senators, so Colorado has 9 electoral votes.
All right, but here in Colorado, when I vote for president, I see a president's name on the ballot. I don't see 9 separate names of electors that I am voting to represent me.
That is true, and ballots would be better if they actually did list the electors, but technically you were voting for example, in the last election, you voted for a slate of electors who pledged to vote for the McCain-Palin ticket when the Electoral College met.
Actually, yeah, I voted that way, but I lost. So the guys who voted, so when those people who voted for Obama, we didn't vote for 9 guys. It looked like we were voting for Obama. People think we're voting for Obama, but we're not. Right?
That's correct. In Colorado, you're voting for a slate of 9 electors who were, in this case, Colorado chose the slate that was pledged to vote for Obama. And of course, electors don't necessarily have to. Some electors have actually switched from what they were pledged to vote for from what they actually did. And there are state laws that attempt to control that. But for example, most recently, in the 1972 election, one of the electors pledged to vote for Richard Nixon, I believe, voted for the Libertarian Party candidate. And indeed, if all of the Nixon electors had done that, the country would have been much better off.
Agree. There's nothing in Colorado law that requires...
I guess I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Finally, all three of us agree on something.
Right.
If an elector elected in Colorado decides not to vote for whom he pledged, there's nothing to stop him from voting any way he wants. So
well, there are some state laws which say the elector must vote as he's pledged. Is that the
case here in Colorado? I don't believe it is.
And it's questionable whether that's constitutional or not.
All right. But the idea is that it is a Republican form of government, which is we elect representatives who represent us, and so there is no direct vote for president. There is no popular vote for president.
That is correct. And the Constitution, the framers of our Constitution, did not want this country to be run like American Idol. They thought that direct democracy was good in some cases, but you wouldn't want to base the whole system on it. And there's lots of ways in which they wanted to put in checks and balances to prevent mobocracy, to prevent the sentiments of the largest number of people at any particular moment from always having control. That's why, for example, the Senate's elected in staggered 6-year terms, and why we have 2 senators per state, which means somebody from Wyoming or Colorado has much more influence in the United States Senate as a voter than you do voting for the senator from California or New York. And thank God we do. That's a good system that underweights places like California and New York and Illinois in the Senate. They get they're weighted per capita in the House of Representatives, and the Senate is deliberately done in a different way. Likewise, the Electoral College is done in a different way, and as with the composition of the Senate, it's something that is designed to protect the smaller states, including now Colorado, from the transient whims of the mobocracy of the large
taking
population
away from the
centers.
Senate, let's bring it to this once every 4 years vote.
By the way, Colorado isn't a small state anymore. We currently actually have a larger percentage of the popular vote than we do of the Electoral College. We passed that about 4 years ago, and it's going, Colorado's population is increasing faster than the national average. So if the argument, I don't think...
After the next census, we might get another congressional seat, in which case that changes as well.
It could change.
Right.
But I don't make this argument based on trying to advantage Colorado. I think that the way we pick the governor of Colorado is he's the person who gets the largest number of votes in Colorado. I think the way we should pick the president of the United States is the person who gets the largest number of votes in the United States. What David is saying is that we should pick the president more by the number of states that support that president rather than the number of people. I think it should be the people. Now, I have a lot of I think
simplify this a little bit for me.
Yeah.
On a 101 level, what's wrong with the Electoral College? The idea that, and it's not just, there is a representation of population because a state gets more electoral votes when they have more population. So it seems to be a pretty good balance.
It's the winner-take-all issue that causes this discontinuity between the number of people that vote for a particular candidate and the number of electoral votes that they get. For instance, if you took 2 states like Texas, it's going to vote Republican, and if George Bush won Texas by hundreds of thousands of votes, and then Al Gore, for instance, won California by 1 vote, George Bush may have gotten a lot more popular votes, but because California has a few more electoral votes, he would have won those 2 states. He would have gotten more electoral votes. So it's a discontinuity that's created by the winner-take-all, which doesn't count everybody's vote equally. A Democrat who votes in Utah...
Stop there for a second. When you say it doesn't represent every vote equally, that's when you're looking at the guy who's running for president. But if, in fact, what we are doing is electing a slate of electors, then doesn't every vote count? That we are, just like we are sending somebody as a senator, every vote counts to get that senator, and that senator represents all of Colorado. In the same way with the Electoral College, we are electing a representative for that one election.